On the extreme right, Mr. Masadur Rahman, our senior engineer here from Dotec.
Shall we start? Okay, basically, like the first thing is who users who will be accessing the EGP. Who are the users, like will access the EGP. From the procuring agency side, there are
slowly and very distinctly.
from the procuring agency, there is an authorized user, procuring entity, approving authority, hope or authorizing officers, PD or PM, that is project director or project manager, BOD chairman, board of director, tender opening committee or proposal opening committee members. So they would be accessing the system after filling the tenders, these people, these members, TOC or POC members, they will open the tender. Then TEC, PEC or TSC, that is tender evaluation committee, proposal evaluation committee and tender subcommittee members. They are the one who will evaluate the tender after doing the opening. There are account officers for the payments and everything. Internal auditors, the one who will audit, the work and everything. Quality people, they will check the quality for the quality assurance. And PA or PE admin, that is the admin part. From the tender community, there is an individual, authorized employees in the case of companies, joint venture partners if applicable, if they are subcontractors, and the third thing is that is bank, media and development partners. These three things are there. The nutshell of EGP is the EGP will bring all the four stakeholders together, right? There is the tenderers, government of Bangladesh or developing partners, medias, citizens and procuring entities. What is EGP? As we say, the EGP stands for Electronic Government Procurement. That will automate your tendering and the contract management process. EGP would be a lot more easier, faster, economical, transparent and accessible compared to the manual tendering process. Initially, EGP will be rolled out for the 4 target agencies, eventually across the government of Bangladesh. EGP will be the web-based application that you can use for free to manage the tenders and contract processes.
There is no border. Anywhere from the world, people can access it.
EGP will help government of Bangladesh to achieve its digital Bangladesh vision, which they have framed there. There are different natures of this procurement. There are methods and different budgets. As we talk about the nature, it's goods, works and services. There are 3 categories. There is an international competitive tendering and same as national competitive tendering. For the methods, there are a few methods which have been listed out. That is EOI, RFP, RFQ, PQ, LTM. That is limited tendering method, open tendering method, 2-stage tendering method, 1-stage 2 envelope method, framework and direct procurement. Budgets, there are 3 budgets. That is a development fund, revenue and open fund. As we go further, there are different modules in EGP, the application. E-tendering, if we talk about the e-tendering, that is the first thing is annual procurement plan, tender document, tender notice, OE-tender, pre-tender meeting, tender submission, opening, tender evaluation, negotiation, NOA and contract signing. As we go to the second phase, as I talked to you, that is a contract management. So the contract management that includes the work plan, progress report, quality check, generate running bills, contract completion, payment, variation or repeat order if they want to give, contractor rating, they will give the contractor rating and the payment gateway. As we talk about this security features, right, this is the main important thing, from the tenderer side and even from the government of Bangladesh. who plans to submit the tender and how many tenderers has been submitted. Right, this is the main thing, like as we talk about. No one will know, like in EGP that who has submitted the tender. Right, the system won't display, like that so and so person has submitted the tender. Yeah, it is all secure. How many tender document has been sold? Even the system won't, the PA or PE, like won't come to know that how many documents has been sold and to whom. Right, they can only get the numbers.
They cannot favor, they cannot deny anybody. This is not a transparency basically.
You can get only the numbers. System will show you that so and so number of document has been sold or has been downloaded. In the EGP it will be downloaded, but you won't come to know the name of that person. Truly global tendering, that is a tenderer can be notified via email, SMS over and above the website and the newspaper advertisement. Anyone can submit the tender from anywhere, anytime before the last written time of submission is not lapsed. Like say as I've told you before, like from the any corner of the world, like you can submit the tender, you can download the documents. Manual tender will not be allowed, like along with this EGP tendering process. Only the electronic tenderers are accepted. Right, you can't do a manual submission. Manual signature and stamp will be replaced by e-signature, which we are using for the security. E-tendering will use the e-signature until the CBTU decides. Like basically there are two things for the security. That is the e-signature and digital certificate. Right. So initially we'll go with the e-signature, and if they want to process with the digital certificate, we will transfer it to the digital certificate. That is the call of security. Sealed and stamped tender envelopes will be given away to the timestamp server, like so each and every time would be noted that on which date and which time, like the tender has logged in and at what time he has submitted the tender. So everything will get noted. Access based on procurement rules, like each user will get limited access to the EGP depending on his procurement role. Basically what the thing is, everyone cannot access, like the full system, right? Just suppose if I am a tenderer, I got a limited access of to submit the tender. Okay. If you are an opening committee, like you can only open the tender. You can't evaluate the tender. So every person has their own rights. So they can access only up to that part, that level. Approving authority will be determined on the basis of delegation of financial power. There are different stages where the approving authority we need, right? So on the basis of the financial power, the approving authority will be decided. So say suppose if the tender is above 5 crores, there is one dedicated person who is authorized to approve that tender. Okay, if the tender is of 2 crore, there is another person who is authorized to approve the tender of 2 crore. We can't approve the tender of more than 2 crore or 3 crores. Okay. Access based on time, that is TOC members get access to a tender on their dashboard only when the due date and time is lapsed. Say suppose if the tender opening date and time is today, right, at 12 o'clock. If the TOC members wants to open the tender at 11 o'clock, system would give them access. Okay, they can only open the tender at 12 o'clock or after 12 o'clock. Biometric based access to the data center for the admin besides the physical security, CCTV monitoring, etc. Like everything has been secured, so like no one can like go and enter to the data center. So all the CCTV cameras and everything like is set over there. Tenderer gets logged in, right? So the system will track his IP. So like if the group of tenderers, like if they want to form a cartel, it is not possible, right? The PE can track that. Okay, for if 5 people are entering from are submitting the tender from the same IP, like at least we can get a judgment that they are sitting at the one place and they are putting the tender, right? So the IP track would be there in the system. Auditorial report, system will generate the auditorial report, so you can come to know the each and every activities, that what time the tenderer has to get logged in or what time the government employees get logged in, what time they are logged out. Everything will be there in the auditorial report. Real-time backup will be taken. So like there is say suppose time to time, like daily base or whatever you said, the backup you can take. Now if you talk about this tender creation cycle, right, the first thing is the registration on the EGP. after doing the registration, someone needs to approve your registration. Right. The second thing is to allow the roles and rights. We need to allow the roles and rights, the financial power and everything, right, to be an approving authority. After allotting the roles and rights and giving them an access, they can create an APP, that is an annual procurement plan. The annual procurement plan will get approved by HOPE or approving authority. After approving that thing, they can create a tender document. The tender document needs to get approved. On approving the tender document, they can create a tender notice. They can publish the tender notice. They can advertise the same in the newspaper and in the website. On publishing the tender notice, the system will shoot email notification and SMS notification. After that, they can conduct a pre-meeting, if required. They can upload the minutes of pre-bid meeting on the website. If needed, they can float a corrigendum. They can publish a corrigendum. Corrigendum or addendum needs to get approved, right? So this is the process of tender. Now, from the tenderer side, if we say that what is the submission cycle, tender submission cycle. So a tenderer needs to get registered on the EGP portal. It needs to get approved by EGP admin.
He has to furnish all the details, even his certification or a registration, the scan copy through a net.
He can log in on the EGP portal. He can view the APP, the one which the department has created. So he can view all the APPs, annual procurement plan. And the good thing about the system is, the system is allowing the tenderer to mark the APP as a favorite tender. Say suppose if the tenderer is interested in construction, right? So he can review all the APPs of construction, he can mark that APP, and when that tender will get floated, the system will send a message to that tenderer that this tenderer has been floated.
More awareness with the tenderer.
He can give the tender notice. Payment. He can do the payment of this document fees. If he wants to download the document, he needs to do the payment for the document fees. He can participate in pre-tender meeting. He can view the minutes of meeting. View the corrigendum. He can upload the document in his tender briefcase. This is again the good features, each and every time. So suppose if a tenderer wants to go with the tender, right? Every time there are some few documents which are mandatory. So every time he needs to upload the same document. So what he can do, you just give him the facility of a briefcase. So he can upload all the necessary document in his briefcase. So whenever he's just submitting the tender, he just need to select the documents from his briefcase. So that documents, he can save in his briefcase. He can fill the tender form. He can fill the tender form after that. And against the tender form, if he wants to map any documents, supporting documents, he can take it out from the briefcase. He needs to sign and encrypt the tender and save in the briefcase. He can decrypt or edit the tender before final submission, right? For the final check. If he wants to edit or if he wants to check, whether everything is okay or not, he can decrypt the same thing and he can do addition or he can check it out. After that, he will go for the final submission. So this is the process of submission.
Decryption is nothing but any other people cannot view his information. He is 100% sure about it.
So even admin can.
No, not a single person other than him.
The third
Not
thing,
we also. In development, we cannot view it.
The third thing is tender evaluation cycle. I'll show you how the evaluation process. First, you need to form a tender opening committee or tender proposal opening committee. Tender opening committee will get logged in. All the members, selected members will get logged in. They will decrypt the tender or unseal the tender. As we, like in layman language, if we say, they will unseal the tenders. They will generate a tender opening report. they can view or they can print the same. They can share the report with the tenderers. After doing that, the TOC needs to hand over all the reports to the procuring entity. He in turn will hand over the same to the tender evaluation committee for the evaluation purpose. Tender evaluation committee, like if they want some clarification or anything, like they can just take the clarification from the tenderers. If in the case of complication, right, if they need a support of tender subcommittee, they can even take a help of tender subcommittee.
Expert opinions.
They can carry out the post qualification if they have configured, right? Post qualification, like they can go over there to the tender's place and they can view like whatever they want to do inquiry, they can do the inquiry. That is a post qualification. It is a part, anyway, it is a part of evaluation process only. If they want to reject over there, they can reject by doing the post qualification.
I claim something, but it is not there physically.
They can go with the negotiation. They will generate an overall evaluation report. They will hand over the same to the approving authority. The approving authority, like he can reject or he can approve it. If reject, like again they can go for the retender or they can press the tender, whatever. Depends upon the approving authority. After approving the tender, like they can issue a notification of award or they can go for the retendering. After issuing the notification of award, like they will go with this performance security and then lastly the contract signing. This is the payment processing, like it's phase 2, so like we won't talk much about this phase 2 and just concentrate on the phase 1.
In each and every step there is a criteria from PPR, Public Procurement Rules. There is some days defined. Within that particular days, we have to finish that PE or that responsible person has to finish that activity. So all the criteria from the PPR, which is called a Bible of the public procurement, it's taken care there.
It is issued by the Bangladesh government.
Government of Bangladesh.
Yeah.
Software is not violating any of the rules which is defined there. Software is taking care about that all the rules.
From the tenderer side, what we require is the national ID of the citizen, the team number. If it is a joint venture, like both the partner needs to be registered on the EGP portal. The same with the subcontracting. All the partners should get registered on this. All the person, should get registered on the EGP portal. In case of companies or consultant from the other companies, necessary documents are required. They needs to submit the same, right? It is anyway all that what documents are mandated. Like we'll upload the list of the documents. It's so documents are mandatory to upload. So they needs to upload the documents.
Scan copy.
Each tenderer will be verified by the EGP admin before the giving the approval. Right? So all the details will be verified by the EGP admin. CPTO reserves the rights to accept or reject the registration requested by tenderer. What are the benefits of EGP? As a tenderer cannot submit the late tenders as the electronic tender box gets sealed at the moment of due dates and timelines. Right over here, like in the offline process, they can even do the late submission, right? And on that envelope, they will mark as a late submission or late date. But then on EGP, it is not possible. Tenderers are not required to submit the multiple copies of tender as the copy can be printed and like whenever they can download the same. So in the offline process, like multiple copies, in some tenders they require 2 or 3 copies. But on EGP, there is no requirement of multiple copies. The important thing is, like in offline process, they may do some mathematical mistakes, right? The calculative mistakes. But on the EGP, there is no possibilities of like mathematical mistakes. All the calculation will be done automatically. So tenderer just need to add the rates. Everything will be done automatically.
Including amount in figure and amount in word. They may do that mistake. Here we are not allowing them to write amount in word. System itself will.
EGP system ensures that unless all the mandatory forms and documents are not uploaded, tender cannot be submitted. So the tenderer needs to upload all the mandatory documents and need to fill all the forms which are mandatory. The good thing is EGP system ensures that only one tender can be submitted by the tenderer. Right, so there wouldn't be any ghost entry or anything like that. As I told you, like the system will track an IP. No need to store, like tenders in the hard copy. As like it will be archived. So, like as and when they need, they can take it up from that system also. Tenders can be opened on the click of a mouse. Tender can be opened on the click of a mouse by any of the tender opening committee, unlike the manual system where 3 people needs to be present. As per the manual procedure, like 3 people are required to open the tender. But on the EGP, like a single member, like he can open the tender.
By sitting his place, no need to come on a particular physical location.
Comparative price of tenders like L1, L2 statement will be generated by the system itself, right? So like on clicking the L1 report or clicking a comparative report, on clicking the comparative report, like you will get the whole comparison of all the tenders, the one who is submitted the bid. The users can carry out the job from their own place. More tenderers will participate because of an easy accessibility and anytime and anywhere tender submission flexibility. Like as I told you, from any corner of the world, like a tenderer can participate in the tender. Access to the national tenderer data bank by the PE for increasing the competitive amongst the tendering community. Like as I told you, there would be more competition in this thing, right? EGP as compared to the offline process. The important thing is EGP will increase the competition in the general and this in turn will reduce the cost of procurement. As I told you, like all the hard copies and everything, the printing and this all thing, like it will get reduced. Everything is online, so like you just need to download the document if you want, or you can go through the document if you even need the document online also. So that is the good benefit of EGP. Tenderer can use the EGP for participating in the tender 24/7 from the any corner of the world. It is open. Tenderer can submit the tender till last date and time, but it is, like as per experience, like it is good to say, like not to wait for the last minute.
Because we are experienced.
Exactly. Documents for the briefcase, like as I told you that documents that are common for the tenderer can be reused and hence tendering on the EGP is easier, faster and convenient. As he has already saved his, like the important documents in the briefcase, like he can use as and when needed.
Anything you have?
No, for any tenders. He just needs to map that documents. Again and again, like there is no need to upload the documents, to scan the document. Once he can save in the briefcase, he can use it.
He can edit from his office and use from anywhere from the world because it's saving in a server.
Tenderers can see all the annual procurement plan on the EGP portal. And tenderer may mark those like as their favorite or watch list. So when the tender will get published, like email notification or an SMS will be sent to the tender that so and so tender has been published, which they have marked in the watch list.
No need to compulsory read the newspaper and watch it. You will get the alert.
And pioneers of EGP in the Bangladesh, like there are approximately 300 public sector agencies in EGP, and for the pilot phase of e-tendering, we have chosen 4 target agencies, right? That is Roads and Highways Department, Local Government Engineering Department, Rural Electrification Board, and Bangladesh Water Development. These are the 4 agencies. And the expected day to go live is in January, mid of January.
So entire system, which is there manual, it is re-engineered and it is available there with the good features. There is some limitation in manual system.
My first question was this IP track, you can say IP track. So basically, IP track, real IP can be tracked, but local IP, is it can be tracked? It's possible to track the local IP?
No, the real IP, like say suppose from one network, like 10 people are accessing.
Yes.
So we will track that network IP.
It might be possible that people can use it from cyber cafe.
Absolutely.
At that time we cannot know. They may be using it. So this is the one way to track it. But it's not 100% helpful. Might be.
Another sense of payment, you are exposed ourselves to the payment, online payment. In Bangladesh, there is it impossible already. So
There is?
it is impossible to payment.
No,
online.
right now what the thing is, like we have anyway talked with n number of banks, some number of banks we already talked, and we are proceeding on it.
The next contract signing. So will it be possible the online signing or
Online signing is possible, like well the thing is they need this contract paper on the stamp paper, right? So it is not possible, like to
Do
sign the
everything.
contract on.
The physical stamp paper they have to sign. No way.
Like they can download the contract, the whole contract, and they can like.
So the tender or send the tender winner will have to be meet in a place or have to sign.
Exactly, because they need on this stamp paper, right? So
Then say admin verification. You have to
tender verification,
So,
yes.
admin panel or admin. Basically, it will be a long process or short process.
no, it is not a long process. Anyway, see at the time of registration, what the detail the tender has given, like the admin person needs to verify that detail. Right. And after verification, he can approve or he can reject it.
So
Manual system it is there. People are submitting that photocopy, then they will ask for the original copy also. They may inquire in the registration department also, whether it is registered or not. So this is just a re-engineering of a manual process.
your mobile software, the tender winners will get the
SMS alert and mail alert.
With another software will be developed on
Yeah, like that again for the SMS, like we are just having the word with different companies.
That SMS engine is available. It's just
So we just need to integrate that thing. So like anyway the talk is going on.
Another question is that did they have any unique ID? In some like as we have national ID card.
Exactly. They need one unique ID.
So you must so now any fake tender can be submitted in a tenders. Am I right?
Sorry, any?
Any tender submit any fake tenders can be submitted there.
Cannot be submitted.
Yes, yes.
Exactly. See, you have given your unique national ID, right? But the EGP admin will anyway, at the end of the day, the EGP admin will do your verification. Then and then only he will accept it. If he will accept it, then and then only you will get an access to go into the
So
system.
who is on will be the unique ID?
Which one would be the?
Unique ID.
See,
See, there is one national ID, right?
Yes, option.
And the unique ID, that is what we are talking about, the login ID,
login.
right?
he is talking about that email ID.
Okay.
Suppose, yes, absolutely. Anyone getting this email ID? Suppose I am using my email ID. This is unique. Okay. So our national ID number is also unique. Okay? So if we use this ID,
No,
so this
you
is-
can't use the national ID, right? What the thing is, for the registration, you need to give me your valid email ID. That would be your login ID.
Login.
It will verify. It will just send you a link, and if you just press it, then you have to reset your password as the general trend is going on.
It will be totally separate one.
Yeah, absolutely separate. But my concern is that I am talking again. I am repeating that I can open any email address anytime because it was. But I can open any tender.
How can you do it? You have already created one dummy email ID, right?
Okay.
If you are a genuine company, you must be having a documents of that company
Understood.
which you are uploading.
Absolutely.
Company
Right,
registration,
EGP.
rent registration, income tax registration, then everything.
And I just select this one that
Yeah.
they can use the TIN ID and this is the unique ID
Yeah.
because it will be it can be compared with the national others.
Yes.
This is the unique TIN ID is also unique.
Yes.
Only a person can use this is. Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Have a nice discussion.